Hello, hello. Back in my spot. I really love it here, actually. Sue calls this my office. It feels like it's the perfect office for me. Um, Hello, replay members. I've had a difficult evening sleeping because our air conditioner is broken. So it's tough to sleep when the temperature feels like it's more than 100 degrees. Maybe maybe not so bad in the house. We have like a little bit of air conditioning. I don't know. It was like 87, 88 degrees. That is not sleeping weather. So I'm kind of tired. My hair is in a perpetual ponytail bun because I just can't stand feeling it on my neck. And hi guys. Did I make this a members only show or did I make it an everybody show? I don't even know. I don't know. I didn't get enough sleep, so I'm a little like, ugh. I don't know what I'm doing this morning. And the heat is getting to my head. It's not easy to be hot. Looks like it's a whole community show. Looks like it's a whole. Whoops, that was me. I'm looking on the. Somebody say something. Let me know what's going on. Anyway, it's tough to live in Florida with no air conditioning. But it seems like every summer I find myself in this predicament somewhere where the air conditioning breaks, and here we are. So I thought I was doing a members only show, and there's my sister, who's not a member, so now I know I'm not. Hey, Jamestown. Anyway, yeah, maybe you should be a member. Anywho, here we are in stinking hot Fort Lauderdale. But it's okay. I would rather be stinking hot than freezing cold. That's just me. That's how I feel. So, yeah, it's I feel like I'm melting, but that's all right. It happens. Anyway, I wanted to talk about today's show. I was researching, somebody asked about dioxins. And dioxins are it's a very interesting topic because it's weird. On the one hand, and I read the information about dioxins on the WHO, the World Health Organization website, and they said that dioxins are really dangerous, but then in the next breath, they're telling us that dioxins are everywhere in all of our food, and we should just deal with it. Oh, hello, Iman. Nice to meet you. And you are from Kuwait. Wow. I remember that war, Kuwait. I would love if you would tell us more about that. I don't know how old you are, but I actually went to Switzerland during the war between Kuwait and I guess it was Saudi Arabia. I can't really remember the details except that, well, we called it the Gulf War, and I went to Switzerland. The year was 1990, and it was October in the middle of the Gulf War. I went to Switzerland on a visitor visa for 3 weeks. When I got there, because I wanted to hang out with my boyfriend, who later became my husband, I told the airline that I was afraid because there was a war. So, oh, so you're a man. Okay. Thank you for letting us know that. It's interesting because people don't usually say I'm female or male. And telling me that you're a transgender woman, but you're really a man, right? Because you got man parts, or did you cut them off? I'm asking. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but I feel deceived when a man tells me that they're a woman. I feel deceived. It goes against my First Amendment rights to tell the truth about people. So I'm sorry that you came on this show. You probably don't want to be here anymore, and you're welcome to leave. But when somebody says I am a lady, then I'm like, that's weird. Now I know why you said that. So anyway, Sweden. Hello, Tommy in Sweden. I think you probably should not be on the Beach Report, because we don't like it when people lie to us and tell us that they are women when they're really men. So don't do that. Hello, Munchie. Munchie, again, with the whiteness. You know, we've got everybody like, what does it matter what color my skin is, Munchie? Is that why you like me? Because I have white skin? I don't even have white skin. I have a great tan. I turn colors in the sun. Yeah, it's okay, Munchie. And we love you, Munchie. But we don't like to look at people like, I'm this, I'm that. Like, just be a person. Just be who you really are. That's what we want here. For everybody to be who they really are. Can we handle that? This show is about truth. It's about facts. It's about being real people. And we are real people on the Beach Report. And if you're not a real person, so now that the fake woman just told us exactly what kind of person they are. That's really gross. I'm going to report you now for what you just said. And this is why we don't want people coming on the Beach Report who have really bad language and say disgusting things. You know, it's, no. What's a cryptid? Is that something gross? I don't know. Munchie says, they call me Chocolate Thunder. You should see me do the helicopter. I don't know what that means. That just sounds weird. Come on. Come on. Now James is gay. Okay. Why are you telling me this? Why does it matter? I'm trying to talk about dioxins. You know, if you want to talk about your perverse sexual pleasures, go elsewhere. I'm not interested. People don't come on the Beach Report to hear about perversion. Not into it here, okay? Hi, Prad. Are you a normal person? You know what? I like people to not talk about sex, okay? So I don't care if you're gay, James. You don't get to talk on the Beach Report anymore. So done with that. I love you too, Munchie. I hope you're doing well. I know you've been going through some stuff. I do hope you're doing well. Oh, Prodpa, wir können Deutsch sprechen. How about that? Oh my goodness, Jamie. Thank you for telling me. Okay, who said that? Yep, here's another one. We're going to report you for your sexually explicit material, and then we're going to kick you off. My sister is now a moderator. Okay, do what you have to do. Get rid of these pigs. I can't take it anymore. Yeah, I'm a total prude. You don't need to be on this show if you're a prude. I mean, if you don't like prudes, just go away. I'm a prude. So bye. Bye, Oscar. Go find someone else to talk about sex with, okay? There are so many other places that you can do that. You do not have to do that here. So I know that I'm being attacked by trolls right now. And I need to look for my moderators. So now my sister's a moderator. You know, you can kick people off, Jamie, now. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to show you just so that I can hide you. Gross, gross. And Oscar's looking just for OnlyFans women. So why would you be here? Yeah. Nope, don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I know, Brad. What do we do about that? We block and we remove. That's what we do about it. Okay. Is there anybody here who would like to talk about dioxins? Or do you have another issue that you want to discuss? Because I've got plenty of issues we can discuss. Finding content to talk about is not a problem for me. I just would like to keep it clean. This is a show that children often come on and watch the Beach Report. Teenagers, let's be good, moral characters for the young people who show up. I think this world is way too full of people who they're depraved. And I'm not interested in your depravity. There's plenty of places you can go to work off your aggressions and your sexual tension. It's not here on the Beach Report. Now I think I'm gonna have to go and do a members only show, because this is why I have membership, because of these people that come on. Yeah, okay, bye. Love you, James. Oh, Pratt, I'm glad you're here. Those people are stressed in real life and don't have friends in real life. Well, that's sad. But they don't belong on the Beach Report. This is a show that is we're about God, we're about faith, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer, I can help you write your own book. Lots of stuff we can talk about. Living in Florida, I've taken you to see alligators. I can show you some beautiful palm trees. Look, they're right behind me. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful place. That's what the Beach Report is about. So, hey, Prad, would you like to talk about dioxins? Oh, there's Donna, thank goodness. I'm a junior hardware engineer. Well, that's cool and very interesting. And I think engineers are really some of the smartest people in the world. I come from a family of engineers. You guys have a very dry sense of humor, but you're super, super smart. Hi, Robert, good to see you. So I'm going to just start talking about dioxins, because it's important to know what's in our food and what we're dealing with in the world. So the WHO and the NIH, first they tell us that dioxins cause cancer, endocrine disruption, immune suppression, developmental harm. They tell us this. But then they want us to feel okay with the fact that the dioxins are everywhere. They're persistent. They are polluting our whole world, so everyone's exposed to them. Don't be worried. It's not that bad. The NIH and the WHO, yes, WHO, the WHO, the WHO, dioxins are chemicals, pollutants, poisons that are in everything. Hi, Waleed. And everyone's exposed to them. And somebody came on my show a few days ago and asked me to do a deeper dive into what are dioxins. First of all, they're pollutants and they're very bad. So thank you for saying this, Ram. This doesn't seem like the submissive. No, Donna, no, seriously. Somebody is telling people that this is a submissive deviant stream. Did you get sent here? This is what I know. And Ram has a gift membership too. Can you tell us really why you're here? We want to know. Roger, do you speak English? The Who, Roger Daltrey. I could just start singing. I could sing from the Who. It's a boy, Mrs. Walker. It's a boy. Yes, Jesus loves you too, Scott. Hello. Wow. I made a mistake and did a, yeah. He's a pinball wizard. Da, 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 da. I studied about the dioxins in organic chemistry. I'm in college now. I remember it's really toxic to the liver. Thank you, Brad. I'm sorry, Roger. Do you speak English? Because you might not belong here on the Beach Report. We speak English. If you don't know what a pollutant is, then I don't have any help for you. So thank you, Pratt. I'm glad that you know what dioxins are. And I want to talk about them because they are persistent pollutants. And everybody has this poison in their body. Everybody. Trace amounts, they say. But I think it's worse than that. In other words, the world is contaminated, and organizations like the WHO, I always call it that, the WHO and the NIH are managing, well, they say managing risk, but really managing their own exposure. Hi, Evan. Yeah, the WHO. Maybe I'm thinking of, what's that, Wuhan in China, where they sent us the COVID. So, when I was growing up in America in the 80s, I noticed all the people getting really fat. Like, every time I turned around, little kids who you never saw fat kids in the 60s and the 70s. That's when I grew up. I was born in 1965, one of the very first Gen Xers. And there was always one kid with would they say, a glandular problem or something. Hi, JC. Oh, that Delilah on the radio, you mean? I think she's kind of corny. Sorry, Delilah. She has a beautiful voice. So thank you. I take that as a compliment, JC. Yeah, so anyway, growing up in the 60s and the 70s, there was usually like one fat kid in your class, and that was it. And like I said, that kid had a problem. They said it was glands, they said it was hormones, I don't know. There was always one. Now, the skinny kids are the ones you don't see. Now, all the kids are getting heavy pretty quickly into, you still see a lot of the nice looking, beautiful young teenagers who aren't fat yet, but American fast food is garbage. I grew up in an era where fast food wasn't really that bad for you. Yeah, glandular problem, likes to eat cake. Exactly, Rom. Rom, were you joking about the deviant thing? Please tell me you were joking. I don't know. And here Trent's calling me fat right now. Okay. Have you seen a fat person, Trent? Yes, I've also been made to think I was fat when I was never fat. And that's why I had an eating disorder for a long time. So somebody claiming that I'm fat right now is probably somebody claiming that they're also a woman when they're really a man. It's a mental disease. Hi, Jenny. I'm so glad to see you, my friend. In Europe, the bread is really good. In America, the bread is garbage. That is such a good point, Prad. Oh, I have the heavy bags. You mean bags under my eyes? I just explained that, Trent. I had a really bad night because our air conditioning isn't working. And we live in South Florida, and it's hot as hell. And so, no, I didn't get good sleep. So, thank you for mentioning that I've got bags under my eyes from not getting good sleep. And I'm glad that you noticed that. Are you concerned about me? Or are you trying to make me feel badly about myself? No, I know we are going off topic, Roger. Stay on target. But it is on target. What is this, Jody? What are you doing? Or your name isn't even Jody. Yeah, what is with the people talking like this? I don't understand it. And you know what, Jenny? They're being mean to show us all who they are. You know, you can say whatever you want to me. You can't hurt me. I don't know who you are. I don't care about what you say. Oh, it's not a compliment, Trent. Don't pretend like it is. You've got heavy bags under your eyes. That's wonderful. I mean, come on. Hi, Gracie. So glad to see you. All right, come on, go get your mama. Go on, mommy's home. The dog. Mommy's home. In America, many people are really fat. They don't walk at all. Here, people walk 5 to 10 steps a day, every day. That's why I moved to Switzerland in 1990, Prad, because I saw that. And I saw that the Americans were being misled and told to eat horrible food. Eat food out of boxes, eat food out of fast food restaurants, eat and watch television at the same time. That's a big thing. So much so that they started putting televisions in the restaurants in America. They absolutely destroyed Americans with food. Made people think that high fructose corn syrup, which is like 1 billion times sweeter than anything should ever be, it's illegal in every country except for this one. And it's really become a problem. Now, I watched in my country, I watched food be weaponized, obesity skyrocketing, more additives, more preservatives, and people literally eating themselves to death. So yeah, it was a bad night, Gracie. It was really bad. Thank you for caring. I do appreciate that. I'm drinking ice water. But yeah, it was a miserable night, and I have fans and everything. It wasn't enough. And you know, you're really not supposed to sleep with fans going on. Hi, Brittany. Well, I've had better days, but I was just saying our air conditioner is broken, so I'm dealing with it in South Florida. My mom is American, so I've gone there as a kid, so I know it well. Oh, so you are a, what's that? What is that we call our children? Second culture children, something like that. Yeah, just like the old days, Greg, exactly. Trying to get by in a hot night with just a fan. I've done it before. I am no stranger to roughing it. Thank you, Roger. Dioxins come from meat. 90% from meat, fish, and dairy. That's interesting. I did not know that. So when I moved to Switzerland, I found out that the food didn't have to be poison. My dad's Indian, and they both met in Germany and lived here. And you live in Germany right now, right? That's really interesting. No, children who are born with like my kid's dad is Swiss and I'm American. They're called two culture children, something like that. Biculture children. Anyway, Greg, Switzerland's a difficult country to infiltrate. But I did it, and I became a Swiss citizen. And anybody who knows Switzerland knows that if you become a Swiss citizen, you have to go through very, very rigorous vetting, and they have to make sure that you are going to be part of your community. Dual culture. Thank you, Donna. Yes, my children are dual culture, and so are you, Brad. And you live in a totally different country than what your parents lived in, so that is really interesting. Anyway, I'm an international type of lady, and my kids live in America now. My ex-husband lives in Switzerland because being married to a Swiss can sometimes go horribly awry, as it did with me. Though the children are called dual citizen, but there's a thing like shared culture children. Children born of people from different cultures, from two people, two different cultures. Swiss and American. We used to call them the Smamericans. And it's very different. The Swiss culture It's very different from American. Plus, if you know the Swiss, they either love you or they hate you. Pratt is dual citizenship. I am American and German. Right. Just I am also dual citizen. I'm American by birth and Swiss by getting the yeah, international heavy bags, Trent, exactly. Bicultural. I feel like there's another name for it. You did look it up. It's bicultural children. Okay. Not biracial, because we're all white, Swiss and American. The kids are white. So, although, I don't know. It's not biracial. Biracial is when you have somebody who's black and somebody who's white. Did they love you or hate you? Well, it depended on who they were, Roger. If they loved foreigners, then they loved me. But some Swiss hate anybody who's foreign. They don't even like the people in the next village. So they hated me. They didn't hate me, though, as a person. They didn't know me as a person. They just didn't like that I was a foreigner. And they don't like any foreigners. And like I said, they even consider like somebody, if you're in Basel and somebody is from Bern, that's almost a foreigner, and they're going to hate you. And that's right, Pratt. In the EU, the food safety rules are extremely strict, but Switzerland never joined the EU. I was there when the vote took place. And yeah, what does that mean, Trent? Wonder Bread is bad, by the way. Don't eat Wonder Bread in America. It's a wonder anyone survived it. It'll make you fat. Anyway, the food in America is designed to make you fat, addicted, sick, and eventually dead. I am very concerned always about the food. And when I walk into a home and the family eats food that they buy in the grocery store, out of boxes, out of cans, out of bags, I can't believe they eat like that. It's just so disgusting. Okay, Trent, I think you're silly and you're kind of like immature, so I'm gonna silence you. We don't need to hear any more about heavy bags, okay? Oh, Pratt, well, yeah, your mom's, or your dad's Indian, your mom's German. So you are biracial, but my children are not biracial. Anyway, it's very interesting how people are grown up. But America's food, hi Sula, America's food has been tainted. And the World Health Organization is saying that there's dioxins everywhere. So it's all over the world. But I think it is worse here in America. And here's some reasons why that I researched. We have more industrial activity. Yeah, good riddance for sure. It's a bigger country. More incineration. So burning garbage and other things does lead to pollution in the sky. Oh, you always got diarrhea in California. That sounds about right. Oh my gosh. Larger scale agriculture. Yes, big agriculture is a huge problem in America. And when the 80s rolled around and I was a teenager, actually when I was in college, that's when they had all these farm aid shows and Feed the World and all this stuff. Really what was happening was big agriculture was taking over all of our farming. And yeah, Rick, you've been eating it for 66 years. How are you feeling? Are you on any lifetime drugs like statins? Are you taking anything for high blood pressure? How is your health, Rick? I would like to know. Sula says, I can eat a tomato in Ireland, but I break into a rash if I eat one in the United States. Very good point. The night, right, okay. I don't know what we're talking about, fish. Burning sugar cane. Yeah, that's a problem. Extreme capitalism. Well, I'm not going to blame capitalism, but I would blame, yeah, in a way, I guess trying to make money is because love of money is the root of all evil. But thank you, Pratt. I'm glad that you were here, and we'll see you later. Hi, Itzhak. Shalom. So another thing that causes the dioxins to be everywhere is the processed food that we eat in America, and all of the packaging and the chemicals that they use in farming and the contaminated waterways. So thank you, Sula. You're so sweet. Dioxins accumulate in fat. Now let that one sink in. If you're very heavy and you have a lot of fat, you literally have dioxins in your fat. They are among the most toxic chemicals known. They cause cancer. They cause hormone disruption. They cause immune damage. But we've all got dioxins in our body. And according to the WHO and the NIH, that's okay. But it's not okay. I don't think it's okay. Do you think it's okay that we all have this level of pollutants in our body? It's industrial. And it's the reason why I moved to Switzerland when I did. So that's funny you should talk about the tobacco chewing, Itzhak. You can quit that. I quit smoking cigarettes 30 years ago. Thank you, Jake. From animal fat. Yeah, but it's in your fat. When you live in a country like Switzerland, Germany, Europe, you are much less exposed to this. Jesus helps me every day, WLM. You're so right about that. And I love that we have international people letting us know that the food in America is horrible. Oh, Jake, were you on the other day telling us about poker? Was that you? Because someone was talking about poker for a living. I was raised Jewish and I accepted Jesus. So I'm both. I'm a completed Jew. I love Jesus, by the way, Itzhak. If you're Jewish and you haven't accepted Jesus, I would say check him out. Okay, so don't lie about anything, please, on the Beach Report. We're about the truth. We're not here to scam anybody. We're not here to make up stories. We're not here to talk about sex, okay? Sometimes there's a time and a place for everything. Yes, I'm born again, exactly. So here's something else that I wanted to talk to you guys. Okay. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. My quit smoking, my quit tobacco. So when I quit 30 years ago, he is the Messiah. Sorry, I know, I'm a Cohen. And I researched it really hard, and Jesus has talked to me personally, so it's God. And I totally believe it and have accepted him as my Lord and Savior. And I know you don't like it. I get it. Very few Jews would be able to put up with me right now, but you're welcome to leave if it upsets you. But you can keep watching, and you'll hear me read the Bible, and you might understand why I've accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, because he's pretty amazing. Yes, Jake saved my life. Exactly. We're not talking about slavery, Roger. Don't be obtuse, please. Jesus is not about slavery. However, you are a slave, and you are a slave to tobacco. So I'm going to read you guys something that I wrote 30 years, yeah, 30 years ago, about how I quit smoking. And how I did it was, I'm a writer, so I keep a journal. Little miracles happen every day. People open their minds to it, says Sula. That's so true. They're saying that there were no dinosaurs. Just saying, I don't know. Everyone's a slave, you know? Everyone's a slave. So get over that one, Roger. I thank you for not being upset with me, Itzhak. And if you watch the Beach Report, maybe you'll understand why I've accepted Jesus, and maybe you will too. And I'll tell you one thing about being Jewish, is that we were told for thousands of years that the Messiah was coming. Well, when is he going to get here, Itzhak? Do you really think that God would make you wait this long to see the Messiah? Do you really think it would take thousands and thousands of years? And where is he? Where is that Elijah that we wait for every Passover? And if you read the story about Passover and the Passover lamb, and you realize that Jesus is the lamb, if you read it all using a different kind of a mindset, then you might think the way I now think. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Thank you. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Revelations, Jesus. Thank you. So this is what I believe. And I I feel sorry for Jews who, number one, when you read the Bible, when you read the gospel stories from like Mark and Luke and John, all of them, you start to find out that the Jews were all about law, and Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. Thank you. The Jews hated Jesus because he told everybody that God doesn't want us to fight for power and follow these laws, and we need to be people, and you have to forgive people for being people. Vegetarians are significantly less likely to have high levels of dioxins in their bodies. Studies show that individuals who follow strictly plant-based diets can have anywhere from 1/3 to less. And there's a reason to become a vegetarian. Storming bad where I'm at stopped me from cleaning the windows. Hello, Christ is risen. That 1/5 of the dioxin levels circulating in their blood compared to regular meat eaters. So there's that. So because dioxins accumulate in fat, then I guess we've got fatty meat being the problem. And again, fat is being targeted. So no meat. Donna doesn't eat meat. Amen in Jesus' name. I do need to visit Israel. You're right, Itzhak. My son was actually bar mitzvahed in Israel at the Wailing Wall. So I did send a representative. But I love Jesus. I love him with my whole heart. He's my husband. He is my man. My husband, Ray, is in heaven, and this is my wedding ring. And my Ray passed away almost 4 years ago, and he was a Sephardic Jew. Actually, he helped design one of the zoos, a zoo in Israel. I think we need meat. I like to eat the meat, Sula, so there's that. Mark 12 talks about the Jewish people in a parable in the vineyard. Ooh, I would like to find that. If you could write it down. I'm Ashkenazi. So I married a Sephardic Jew. Isn't that cool? Gretchen eats mostly meat. All our veggies are sprayed with poison. Then there's that. I know. It's really hard to deal with. It's one of the reasons why I fast. Sometimes I think not eating is better than eating poison. Yeah, I can't go vegetarian. I love my meat. Well, my son is Jewish, but he's not going to synagogue or anything. There's that. Hey, Mac Daddy, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so I'm going to read this. Wait, is Gretchen on? Did I see Gretchen here? Yes, Gretchen, you're here. Okay, Gretchen, this one's for you too. I promised I would read this on my show. I've read it before, but this is what I wrote when I was quitting smoking. There is very little by the time it gets on the shelves, and it's scarce-mongering when we need fruit and veg for health. But you're in Ireland. Yes, I adore Jesus. He loves everyone. I used to eat meat. I lost 2 molars after radiation therapy from cancer, so I changed my diet. Well, there's that. You know, and talking about health and everything, it's so individual, and I have had people be very angry with me because I don't trust doctors, and I don't trust Big Pharma, and I don't have health insurance. I haven't been to a doctor in years. The last time I got a false diagnosis was, I'd say it was about 15 years ago, and I had a mammogram. And every time I got a mammogram, they would tell me, thank you guys, thank you. They would tell me that I had to go get another, something more invasive. Like usually it was an ultrasound or something, claiming that I had cancer. And I don't have cancer. And I would, do what they said, and everything was painful. Don't trust doctors. 90% of our health issues come from mental and stomach issues. It's right. And the other thing is, in America, the third number 3 killer of Americans is medical mistakes. Number 3. Yes, I'm in Florida. So yeah, do you trust doctors when the third way you can die is that a doctor kills you by mistake? That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Hi, Betty. We're talking about some really important things this morning. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't trust doctors. I feel like I'm 60 years old and don't trust cops, doctors, judges, and remember God blessed rights can be taken away. Boogie, you are with your people. Hi, little witchy one. Just from that comment alone. Which one? Yeah, I think that Mac Daddy, you better start talking, my friend. You better start chatting. If you know what's good for you, Mac Daddy. Come on, tell us some stuff. Gretchen, get poised. So, living in America now, I am sick to death of seeing people be medically gaslighted in this country. And that's something else I wanted to talk to you guys about. Actually, I talk about COVID because that was the worst thing I've ever seen ever happen in this country and throughout the world. And thanks to a bunch of lunatics like Dr. Fauci and his friends. All right, here we go. Gretchen got Sula. That was great. It wasn't Mac Daddy, but it was Sula. That was wonderful. Gretchen score. Good job. Sula's a member. Yes. Sula, you won. That's so exciting. Perfecto. So you can keep trying for Mac Daddy, but you got Sula, and that is awesome. Yeah, you're a member now. Congratulations. Wait, Sula was not a member. No, you were not a member before. But Sula was already a moderator. Yes, I am a Trump supporter. Absolutely. I am all about making America great again because I do believe that America was once great. And that was when my grandparents were alive. That was before World War II. That was before the baby boomers. It was a great country, and it was founded by great people. And George Washington was a great man. So, I know, but you did really well today, Gretchen. That was good. See, you never know in the Beach Report. You could win a membership. And membership is super fun. She did, Sula just, Mac Daddy, woo woo! Oh my gosh, Sula did it. Wow, that's amazing. All right, that is awesome. But Lil Witchy one is right. It was great before the Vietnam War, exactly. Mac Daddy, I am not a doctor, but it is absolutely no joke. It is a real crisis all across 50 states. Congratulations, Sula. Congratulations, Mac Daddy. I can't believe the doctors accidentally make them pass away. Yes, third biggest killer in the United States. Never forget that. Boogie, how come Custer didn't make it up the hill? Because he had engine trouble. I love your jokes, Boogie. Wow, this is great. We're going to have a very fun members-only show. I'm just saying. And y'all are welcome to buy a membership if you want to be part of my members group. It is growing, and we always have a good time on the members-only show. The way the men were treated when they came home is beyond wrong. So true, Lil Witchy one. I actually have interviewed, as a journalist, many Vietnam veterans, and not interviewing them really for any reason other than I want to know what happened. And they don't like to talk about it, but they've always talked about it with me. Oh my gosh, who else? Andrea Butterfly, yes! So you guys are on a roll today. This is awesomeness. We love Andrea Butterfly. And Andrea just like, I didn't even know you were in the room. This is like, now it's a member show. Yeah, you got Andrea, good job. You're getting everyone today. This is great. You guys are on a roll. Wonderful. I am super stoked about today's, thank you, Sula, today's membership show. Is going to be so much fun. I thought this was going to be a membership show. I even said welcome new members, and here all the new members are coming in. So I guess it kind of is a membership show. And if those of you who have not been lucky enough to get a free membership from very, very generous members, it's only $3.99 a month, which is pretty good for my lowest tier. And you get all the benefits of being in the members only. Plus, you can kick off trolls. So I'm thinking that my left foot is a troll. So who wants to be the first one to kick him off? Come on, you guys. Let's see, Andrea. Wait, is Andrea? I gotta make Andrea a mod. Wait, Mac Daddy needs to be a mod. Okay, Mac Daddy's now a mod. And Andrea Butterfly is now a mod. Okay, good job. Yes, but it doesn't matter if I'm a member or not a member. It never impacts my support. I lose members. I do not care if I am a member. It never impacts me. Well, we're glad that you're here. But you can be on the members only shows, Mac Daddy, so that's fun. And Mac Daddy, you have your own page, don't you? Do tell us about it. Because we like to support each other on the Beach Report. Okay, now before we go any further, I am going to just read to you what I wrote about quitting smoking. And I'm going to hope that, Gretchen, that it helps you, and Itzhak, that it helps you too. Even though this isn't about chewing tobacco, but tobacco is tobacco. It is highly addictive. Oh, you gotta go. Okay. Sorry, girl. Well, I'm going to read it anyway. Oh, okay. I'm going to read it quick then. It's called No Good Time to Quit. This is the day 2 of my quitting cigarettes 30 years ago. Evil cigarettes will never rule my life again. No longer will I chug down the street, puffing great white billows of foul-smelling smoke behind me, inhaling slow death, just inviting my worst fears to become reality. It felt bad to be so wrong. defining myself by a loser label, stinky smoker. My life was a smoke opera, trapped in the membership of addiction and denial, pretending that it's okay to pollute the world with smoke, stink, and garbage. I can't believe I was actually paying big bucks for the privilege to eventually block my airways with chemicals specifically designed to kill me slowly, all with my permission. Oh my God, how stupid am I? Searching for a final smoke, that rewarding feeling of, when compared to the stinking, evil, putrid, long-term cage of death, I hope it's not too late for me and my loved ones. I was blinded by that smoky bliss for so long, so restricted from people and places that I didn't care where I was as long as I could smoke. I was using it as a wall to shield those I loved best from getting too close to me and my polluted atmosphere. That's a lot. How neglectful and selfish was I to invite the killer into my home to live amongst my family? He sucked in my hard-earned money and pretended to help me with my work, promising me the illusion of inspiration that was really just procrastination, promising relaxation in exchange for the stress smoking was causing in my life, offering social relations with like-minded smokers, delivering pleasure in the midst of learning to hate myself for my dirty habit. Breathe in that smooth, smoky taste and lose your appetite for that which is healthy and wholesome. Quit day 65. So we're now 2 months into my quit. Hi, Bag. Hi, Declan. It's scary. Whoops, wait a minute. Oh, I am definitely losing my mind over this. And it makes me think that getting off this drug is like going on a drug, and a powerful one at that. I feel as if my whole life is gradually turning upside down and all sorts of strange things are falling out of pockets I never knew I had. It's scary, exhilarating, and sickening all at the same time. But the most important thing has been the lesson I've learned about the addiction I've been suffering from since before my birth. It's so bad, it feels like a horrible crime. And I hear about all the smoking-related illnesses, and I wonder how anyone can continue to let this horror rage on. This terrible, hazy death sold in neat little boxes of 20 cigarettes. Gretchen, stick with the weed, not the cigarettes. Seriously. I'm appalled that I was ever a smoker, and I still can't understand why it took the pleadings of my 10-year-old son to wake me up. I know I have to stop beating myself up over my former addiction and begin living in such a way that this crime cannot be perpetuated through another generation. It's bad enough that we're killing our kids with too much junk food. At least we could clean up the air for them, right? Thank you, Sharose. I feel the strongest need to get the message across to those of us, Gretchen and Itzhak, who are still locked within the grips of this deadly menace. I used to be a walking smokestack, and I will spend the rest of my life making it up to the people whose lives I polluted. Quit day number 78. $550.38, 19 days and 19 hours of my life saved. Time smoke-free, 78 days, 2 hours and 39 seconds. Cigarettes not smoked, 2,733. Lifetime saved, 20 days, 21 hours. Money saved, more than $580. But what is saved and what is spent? Every day of life that goes by becomes a memory. There are no guarantees that any time or any money will be saved, but at least it will go somewhere else and not to the tobacco industry. Besides, nobody knows how long they will live, or how quickly they will die, or how much money they are actually saving. What would I do with 20 extra days anyway? Go on a luxurious vacation? Pig out on sweets? Smoke cigarettes? Get wasted? That wasn't even fun. It was a habit. It was madness. Yet it's still the first thing that comes into my mind. No, I think my last 20 days should be spent surrounded by people I love, doing something productive for those who don't have to cut their time on this earth short. I would spend those last hours speaking to every child I could find, telling them not to squander time or take the days for granted, because even when those days are bad, they are better than the alternative. Maybe. Well, the jury's still out on that one. But as long as I'm alive and able to create and experience and love, then I pledge to live each day to its fullest potential. I will feel each emotion deeply and try not to fear the real and imagined implications. I will trust that God really does have a plan for me, knowing that it's my job to carry it out without worrying about what's going to happen next. And I promise to hold my hand out to the next person who needs help in getting through all of these, our last days on earth. Don't save them. Spend them wisely. Thank you, Ryan. It goes on a little bit longer, but I know Gretchen's got to go. So I know he's slowly making changes, and I know you'll feel better when you do get your mouth fixed. I understand that. But we'll be here for you, okay? Because sometimes, you're doing things on God's time. And if you're not ready to quit, then you will not be able to quit. That's just how it is. I think I tried to quit maybe a dozen times before I actually was able to make it stick. For 30 years. 30 years. So yes, we're all praying for you, Gretchen. And we're here for you too. So you can talk to us. When you do start your quit, you will have inspiration and we'll make sure that you get through it, okay? Yes, so many prayers. All right, what else do we want to talk about today? Oh, I know. So we were talking about COVID. Thank you, Gretchen. It is 30 years. It is an accomplishment. And also, when you do have a big accomplishment like that, you have to think of it in a way that it builds you up for other accomplishments. Because that's what a goal is. And you meet a goal, you do it, and then you feel better, like you want to do it again. Every goal builds on itself. And we love you, Gretchen. All right, I need some cold water. It is super hot here in Florida. Okay, here's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to show you a Facebook post, a woman talking. And then I'm going to read you the stories that come after that she's asked for. I'm going to read them to you because I think it's very important. We talk about, and this is an international show, so we have people from all over the world, and I wish you would chime in and let us know, what do you think about Dr. Fauci? And did your country follow so-called orders like 6 feet apart or wearing 3 masks or any of that crazy stuff? Did you have to go through that too because of Dr. Fauci? And I think that we have to get to the bottom of this because we can never, ever, ever let this happen again. See you, Gretchen. We love you. Bye. So the thing about COVID was that it exposed the different types of people that we are living amongst. There are, hi Norway, how you doing, Samantha? There are those of us who believe very deeply in our own autonomy as free people and don't like to be told what to do, especially to take a medication that has not really been fully tested. Max says, when I grew up in 2020, I heard that COVID-19 spread across the United States, but a few years, I survived COVID-19. Yes, we all did. We all did. Some would say it was the biggest psyop of our lifetime. And you're saying that from Ireland, so that's very interesting too. All right, I'm going to let you guys listen to this lady, and then we're going to add our own stories, and I'm going to read you some stories about what happened to people during COVID. I don't know about you, but as somebody who refused to take their poison shot, and Itzhak regrets taking the vaccine, and I'm so sorry. I've heard there are ways to kind of mitigate the damage. I don't know exactly what they are, Itzhak, but I know in Israel it was a big deal. Like they wanted every single person to be vaccinated, which is so going against God's nature because He created each one of us individually in His image, but individually. And I don't know what that means, Paul. Where none of us are the same. So to make a blanket assumption that every single person needs to take a medication that hasn't been tested on the general public, but to make us all take it as if we all have the same risk of getting sick was lunacy. Samantha, I never got the mark of the beast. I never got that shot. Individuals who got it, it seemed like they lost their soul. Many of them, yes. Those of us who saw it for what it was, a tool to show whether we were followers or leaders. So, all right, I'm going to let you listen to this lady, and then we're going to have a very lively discussion about this.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Searzan here. So yes, it's 6 years ago today, the deep state unleashed the COVID pandemic on us. And I just made a video about it. And I thought, you know what, I'm never going to stop talking about this. I'm going to talk about this till the day that I'm off the planet. And I have people telling me, get over it. It was 6 years ago. I will never get over it. So I thought, you know what, let's share some of our amazing, traumatic stories about what happened. I think the biggest traumatic thing that happened was my family turned against me, and I don't want to badmouth them because we have since reconnected and talked about it. But my family turning against me, all my friends, the majority, 90% of my friends turning against me, the horrible things that they did, like I was a diseased human being. I'm somebody that they loved for years, some of them 30, 40 years, and they literally cut me off like I was a cancer, like I didn't even exist. And I talk about it now, and I still have a pain in my chest when I think about people who said they loved me for years, literally just flushed me down a toilet like I was a piece of shit. That was horrifying. And then, of course, the many things like being forced to wear a mask, being forced to walk and follow the arrows. And I remember this one particular day, I was at the dollar store. It was a year into the pandemic, and a woman, this was in Verdun, Montreal, Canada. I hope you are seeing this. She walked by me and she saw me going against the arrows. And when she walked by me, she made sure to hit my shoulder very, very hard. And I thought, fuck, she just messed with the wrong person. And then she said to me, you're a fucking loser. And I turned around and I said, I'm the fucking loser. You are following lines on the floor, arrows on the floor that are telling you that you are safe from COVID because you're and then she started to come close to me. And then I went close to her and she got scared and she turned around and walked away. And though I wasn't afraid, because I'm not afraid of anybody, and I wasn't afraid of her, I was so destroyed that humanity had become so disgustingly vile, enough that a woman felt comfortable enough to come up to me in a store and push me and call me a fucking loser. And in essence, that's what most of my family and friends and clients did. They just didn't physically do it to my face. And then the government wanting to tax us here in Quebec, Canada, they were going to add an extra $1,000 tax. I was kicked out of my gym. I was kicked out of restaurants. I was kicked out of stores. I couldn't shop at Costco. I couldn't shop at the grocery store. So people who tell me to get over it, I will never get over it. Reason why I will never get over it, because that trauma is going to flow through my veins the rest of my life. It's the fact that today, if it would happen and they called another fake pandemic, you people would still do the exact same thing. And that's why I'm going to keep talking about it. Share your story down below. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
We're about to watch.
I was treated very
6 years ago today.
Okay, lady. I was treated very badly too. And by close friends and family. And like her, I don't want to throw anyone, under the bus for the way they treated me and tried to, stop me from participating in regular life. And I think a lot of you went through that too. Paul never wavered. I told people it's absolute nonsense as well. I was called many names. And now, because of the Fauci hearings, the old wound has been reopened in a big way. And people are either, it's so political. It's like, I can't even believe how people are defending Dr. Fauci. Yes, they're claiming they followed science. They are still calling me Typhoid Mary all these years later. And I didn't die and I didn't take the vax, but they, like Joe Biden. I have a whole thing I wrote about too, about Joe Biden and his behavior, saying it was a pandemic of the unvaccinated. He literally turned everyone against each other. Samantha was a doctor in East Texas. As they removed me from being a doctor, so I went to Texas, to Norway. They added me for not taking the shot, as I was treating individuals and telling them not to take the shot. Samantha, you're a hero. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. You definitely have found your tribe here on the Beach Report. Thank you, Spartacus. Yeah, divided we fall was the point, for sure. So I'm going to read this. A lot of people are sharing their stories, and here's one. I remember going to the grocery store. No one would look up, no eye contact. I would be crying inside my mask. No one noticed. Yes, I remember that feeling of deep... I wouldn't wear the mask really anywhere, and they would look at me with hatred. I remember being in the post office a couple of times and getting in very big fights with people in the post office, just waiting in line. Paul's from Liverpool. I can assure you most of the people never fell in line with this BS. You're lucky, because they sure did here. The lockdown, stupidity of the masks, the 6 feet distancing, the years this all went on. Relationships suffered. I hadn't gotten flu shots as far back as 1976. The COVID insanity ruined so much. Good to know I'm not alone in holding on to the resentment. I'm holding on to the resentment. What about you? We've got some trolls. Now, we're going to get really bad trolls at this point, because they don't like it when we talk about COVID. They don't even want to talk about it. And that's why we have these really nasty people who will come on right now. So all my mods, get ready. Hi, CK. Spartacus is from Montreal. You were there. You will never forget it. Hello, Ricky. Oh, so good to see you, Ricky. At the outset, I had a best friend who was a doctor. He told me it was just a COVID variant and not especially dangerous. You mean a flu variant? Never got the shot. And here you are. Hi, Patty. So here's a testimonial from a woman who says, my sister rejected me like I was garbage. And the other sister I was close to never said a word to me about it, but they both got closer together while treating me like I was crazy. Still to this day, they are not my family anymore. I used to teach in secretarial studies for adults, and for 2 years I had to wear a mask for 9 hours straight every day of the week. I would get home with migraine and sore throat. I was the only unvaxxed teacher in the school. No one even cared about me not being able to participate in my own students' activities because they did not accept unvaccinated people. I had then to take my retirement early because teaching to my students for 9 hours at a time with a face mask was making me sick. I will never forget, to this day, my family does not even realize all I was trying to do was to protect them from this poison. Papa Smurf says, it was one of the most horrible experiments they ever did to the world. It destroyed my family. Yes. Paul loves getting into the COVID convo. I have so much information. I might drop them all the time. Yes, well, You're going to have to do that here because the trolls will be on in just a minute. It is no joke, absolutely not. And we are very, very hurt and angry that they use this fake flu variant in order to destroy our relationships with our family members. Ricky says, I have no words. I'm too emotional about it. I'm sorry. I understand. So I'm just going to read some more of these testimonials because I think they're really important. Here's a woman who says, I'm the same way. Never going to quit talking about it. I think my husband literally starts ignoring me and then I open my mouth. He's tired of hearing about it, but he's in the medical field and he should be the one who's so angry about it. And I don't understand why he's not. Same. I also don't understand why people in the medical industry are not more angry about this and the way they were treated as well. This was a human experimentation and we failed. No, we who didn't fall for it, we didn't fail. They did. Paul says, Robert Malone, who helped create the mRNA delivery system, said, don't take it. Yes, and bullied. Yeah, get back to God. Jesus is returning. God willing. Here's another one. I went through the exact same thing, and most of my friends and my family did the exact same thing, and I'm still talking about it, and they still think I'm a little cray-cray. If I walked into a restaurant, they told me to put a mask on. I turned around and walked out. And as I walked out and told them I would never come back to that store again, and I never did. Sandy says, many of my young friends died from this COVID. They got all the shots, and they are no longer here. Exactly. Here's another woman. I refused vaccine for COVID. All the regulations, masks, public spacing, etc., just led to more panic. I also did not get my kids vaccinated. Not one of us got COVID. I also have chronic Lyme disease, which was also invented by the NIH. Look that one up, Lyme disease. Georgia Island, I think it's called, was it Pawleys Island? I was just there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, anyway. Sandy, so sad. I only got the first shot with my husband and my son. We're okay so far. So not all of the shots had the bad stuff in them, and I think that's why President Trump did that warp speed thing. Yeah, it wasn't a cure. And you know, it's worse for us who don't have our loved ones with us, but they are with God, and they're fine. My brother shunned me for 6 months for showing him a video of a young girl that ended up being paralyzed in a wheelchair for taking the jab. You were just trying to help him. It's so ridiculous. All right, this woman has chronic Lyme disease, ended up in the hospital. I needed rehab, she says. I was so frail and needed to relearn how to walk. A nurse for 20 years and a mother of 3 had to relearn to walk. The fight with Lyme is another major issue, but I regress from that regarding this. I was unable to go to rehab because I was not vaccinated. I came home with a walker, raised seat for over the toilet, a shower chair, etc. Getting physical therapy in home was difficult because we were not vaccinated for COVID. Anyway, the moral of the story is I did what I felt was right in my body and healed. A lot of my nurse friends who had to get vaccine for their job now have a lawsuit against the hospital due to the long-term effects from the vaccine that was rushed out without enough data on long-term effects. Regardless, thank you for keeping the fight alive. Hi, Nicole. Yes, it's been terrible on all of us, but especially those of us who didn't believe it. And we're the ones who are even suffering today because the people who did believe it still believe it. And they're doubling down on it. And they're saying Fauci is like some kind of hero. But are they still going to say that when he gets put in jail? Which he needs to be worse than in jail. The only difference between Fauci and Hitler is that Fauci's got more blood on his hands. In Great Britain, 90% of people who had side effects from COVID had the shot. Exactly. It was tough on everyone, but it was worse for those of us who refused to play the COVID game. Me being one of them. Here's another man. He says, my wife lost her business from hate for not buying into their BS. We're talking about COVID, Nicole. Here's another guy. He says, I was confronted in a line waiting to order chicken when a lady in front of me yelled at me, pointing on the ground, saying, 6 feet! After we both ordered our food and were waiting close to everyone else, I told her, so after you order the food, then you can't be infected with COVID, huh? Suddenly, she couldn't speak English. Another guy says, it will happen again. This entire generation is indoctrinated in school, and too few want to fight back. And I, unfortunately, agree with him. They even said after 90% vaccination rate will be achieved, they would allow us back to normal life. Yeah, that didn't even happen. Samantha says, they put me in a county jail, 5 months in solitary confinement for treating patients, trespassing at my own home. I lost all my family members I knew, and the state of Texas, lost all of my family members I knew, and the state of Texas told me to leave. Samantha, again, all hail to Samantha. Samantha is an American hero, and now she lives in Norway. Wow. We lost a really good one, Samantha. I'm so glad you're here on the Beach Report. Oh, it's sad. Paul, I told people not to get taken in. I stood my ground, and I've never regretted it. Same, Paul, same. Ryan had COVID for 2, no nicotine required. I heard nicotine was actually good for getting rid of COVID. I still see mask wearers. Unbelievable, the fear they created. We still see people in their cars by themselves wearing masks. And every time I go to the grocery store, there's always going to be somebody working like in the line, and they're wearing masks. I have PTSD from it. When I see somebody wearing a mask, I feel like angry with them. I feel like, first of all, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? Are you so sick that you have to wear a mask? Then go the hell home. That's how I feel. If you wear a mask or have your hair dyed in a natural color, I cannot stop laughing when I see you. I know, same, right, Donna? Here's another one. Oh, here's a reminder to mostly the blinded who refuse to simply swallow the truth. It's actually liberating to be able to admit I was wrong, says one lady. Reminder, surrender doesn't mean giving up, rolling over a coward, pissing all over yourself. Simply means going to the winning side. The winning side is true good health. Happiness to all. Keep sounding the alarm on this crime against humanity. Yes, that's great. Admit that you were wrong. Mac Daddy was strong. I refused to give up. Guess what? Here I am, still on my feet. Same. The restaurants were propaganda. They told us to wear a mask when we walk in, but we sit down, take the mask off. Lots of viruses. Have no seating arrangement. Yes, it was just so obvious that it was all a tool of control. It was all about control. I even made shirts for the Beach Report that said, I will not comply. And I almost got arrested coming off the beach a couple times. Don't worry, Paul, I will never stop and I will never shut up. Here's another guy. He said, when they disallowed doctors from the right to try any medicine that might help, I knew it was a scam. Same here. I had COVID twice and used ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and vitamins twice, and it worked perfectly. Yes, that was another way that we knew. The number one positive queen. Good vibes are our favorites. Exactly. I don't know if I have good vibes about this COVID crap, though. I do feel very, very angry about it. And like this lady says, I will not stop being angry about it. I need to see, I need some closure. And I need those who called me names and they are still to this day, to this moment, wishing for my death, wishing for your death. They think that if it was just a world of vaccinated people, nobody would ever get the schmid. That's what I called it during the heyday where I would get kicked off of any social media I ever used for just saying the words COVID. But it looks like now we can say the words fuck and no one cares. So I don't know. I imagine that I will soon be kicked off of social media. Dr. Peter McCullough is amazing and an inspiration, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, I know that something's going to happen. All my friends are getting kicked off of Facebook right now. And it's all because we're talking about COVID. And we're talking about the fact that we didn't take the poison vax and we're happy about it. And there isn't anyone I know who is sorry that they didn't get vaccinated. Not one person, but lots of people who are sorry that they did. Viruses move back in time from their future. You know, you can get sick for any reason, anywhere, anytime. You can't blame other people for it. I mean, if you're really sick and you're hacking up a lung, try to stay home and stay away from other people. That's just normal. However, they're not going to do that anyway. That's why I thought the masks were so stupid, because unless every single person really adhered to mask wearing, and I'm talking about the N95 masks that don't let any particles like a little tiny virus in, and they're just, quite frankly, the masks people were wearing were ineffective. They were wearing them under their noses. They were not following any rules. And, you know, it was kind of to each his own. If you had a mask hanging from your ear, then you were a good person. And if you refused to play that stupid game, they hated us. They hated us. They wished us dead. It's bad. I know. I've been canceled many times because I do it right. I know, Paul. I'm lucky I'm still here. No, we're all lucky that we're still here. And we all have to work together because we can never allow this to happen again. And raise your hand if you think that COVID was created in a lab in order to steal the 2020 election and get all of the mail-in ballots to work against President Trump. Raise your hand if that's what you think. That's right here. Yes, there were people who even had companies. There were conservatives who started companies for masks, thinking that was the right thing to do. At first I bought into it. I was like, yes, we'll all wear these wonderful masks. But then I saw that really nobody was able to wear the masks, not continuously, not changing them all the time. Betty, Paul. Yeah. There's always a virus. Constantly. Here's one from another woman. I worked in a hardware store, Ron. This is how some of the idiots came in. I would say to them, if you are this afraid, why are you here? We weren't even allowed to sell paint. What does paint have to do with anything? Another woman says it was an unbelievably stupid time. Anyone forcing anything is an immediate red flag that the thing being forced is only arbitrary control issues. Participating in any of that nonsense in any way reduces one to an automaton. Just don't do it. It's true. You watch people literally turning into robots. How about those long lines to go get tested for the COVID? Yeah, in your car. And then let's shove something up your nose so far that you might hit the blood-brain barrier. How about that? That was real fun, wasn't it? I fell for that one twice. I'm glad you're here, Spartacus. It's important that we talk about it. And any trolls who want to come on, you are welcome. You are welcome to debate us on this one. Yes, it was beyond stupid. It showed us who the stupid people were. It showed us who the sheep were. And there are no sheep on the Beach Report. When they come on, they show us who they are. What did Betty just say? My granddaughter had to wear a mask to school in first grade on the bus also. It destroyed the children. Samantha, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have subscribed. The shots were also created by the Department of Defense Bluetooth tracking system. Oh my gosh, as we discovered looking at the lab turn on Bluetooth, you will get readings from caskets underground. What? By the way, you guys, Samantha is an actual doctor who fled to Norway. We are so glad you're here, Samantha. Virus will arrive to be integrated by sequence, but it can only do that if it's ahead of us. I don't know what that means, Ryan. Please elaborate. Here's another woman. I am still traumatized by what happened. And you are so right. Nothing was learned. The same people will do the same next time. She's absolutely right about that. If not worse. If not worse. I know someone whose mom was in a nursing home. You could visit, but had to be masked and keep your distance. No hugs. He said, the heck with that. His mom was going to know they loved her, and if something happened that they never saw each other again, they would always have that hug. They weren't being reckless or deviant. Also, many in that situation didn't understand. For myself, this is a long one. Wow. I was involuntarily laid off work for several months until the Provincial Emergency Act was lifted. As soon as it was lifted, though COVID was still a thing, I was no longer a danger to anyone and could return to work. I caught it from my vaccinated colleague who caught it from their vaccinated spouse. The irony. I had a car accident going to work a few weeks before I had to show proof of vaccination. They declined my sick leave, saying there was no proof that I was injured, although I had doctor's notes, physio, and insurance forms. Wow. HR even had the nerve to say I did it on purpose, trying to go on sick leave instead of unpaid leave. I was so outraged. What kind of demented human thinks someone would drive their car into a 4-foot ditch with their child in the back? The way I was treated is unbelievable and unforgettable. I also found it hypocritical that jobs like personal care workers and group homes staff only needed 2 jabs. New staff, even after everything stopped, no emergency acts or mandates, had to show proof of their 2 jabs, fully vaccinated, or they couldn't work there, even though any jabs from 2 years prior would no longer be effective. It was absolutely ridiculous. They have probably stopped that because they need staff. Going to the hospital and being asked if we were vaccinated or if we had the COVID. Oh yeah, let's not forget, your medical record is private. How is it private if you were laid off from your job and everyone figured out why? Family who said the unvaxxed shouldn't receive medical care. They're still saying this. Our government made a crap load of money on tests and masks, not to mention the sanitizers. Also, they're horrible. You know, here's the thing about sanitizers. They're the dumbest things ever. So a good way to dry out your skin, but they're not made for your skin. They're made for surfaces. And your skin is made up of cells and is not considered a surface like wood or plastic. So when you put a sanitizer on your precious skin and then touch your face or your mouth or your nose with it, you are literally putting poison into your mouth and nose. Because what are the sanitizers made of? Not anything good. I buy metals and many products from Melaleuca. Yeah, I did Melaleuca too, Betty, and then I stopped because you have to order every month, and I simply can't buy enough stuff every month. That was too much, but my sister uses it, so when I need Melaleuca, I just ask her. When someone asked me, are you vaccinated? I said, hell no. I'm just saying the virus existed ahead by nanos. I don't know what you mean by that though, Ryan. Okay, so anyway, oh yeah, family who said the unvaxxed shouldn't receive medical care, which they're still saying this. Doctors and nurses who were crucified and punished for speaking out or not going along. That sure happened. My sister-in-law, brave physician assistant. The fear-mongering by the misleading headlines or incorrect stats. Like if someone died in a car accident but had COVID, they died from COVID, for example. They sure as heck did that. Hey, Retro, also proud. Okay, I know, Nicole, you have nothing to say, so I'm not repeating that you have nothing to say. Well, I just did. Okay, so we know you have nothing to say. All of the sudden deaths, tons of healthy youth and young adults. Just today, there was a news article about a top ex-football soccer player's son who was also a soccer player. He passed away, and they called it sudden adult death syndrome. Yeah. When did that happen? Sudden adult death syndrome. Yeah. It could never be prevented because they were trying to show who was a follower and who was not. It was a political ploy to steal an election and other things. The people who got it just so they could the jab, just so they could vacation and travel. The ones who got the job for work but didn't want to and swore they wouldn't get any more. What would have happened if all those people had stood up together? The difference between the unvaxxed and the many vaxxed, not all. Some who got vaxxed were literally forced into it. I think Itzhak mentioned. If you lived in Israel at the time, you were forced into it. It's what we want them to have the right to choose what they put in their bodies. Not what they take out of their bodies, mind you. I don't think that you can choose to kill your own unborn baby. I think that is murder. So I'm not talking about that, but I am talking about what you put in your body. It's a difference. When the trucker convoy, remember the truckers? Oh, wow, yeah. Wait a minute. She says, all we want is for people to have the right to choose what they put in their bodies. We didn't wish ill will or harm on anyone. When the trucker convoy started, it was the first time I felt hope and unity. I did too. Those people, still today, 4 years on, don't understand that it wasn't just about the vax. They were standing up for the rights and the freedoms of all, this says Canadians, all Americans, all people all over the world. Even the ones who didn't agree with them. They just don't get it and remain hateful, and they are super hateful. See you, Ron. About those who attended and those who supported it. The divisiveness pushed by the government, especially the then Prime Minister, still affects this woman. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so it causes me anxiousness and sadness for our country. We are now, in Canada, more divided than ever, and the same in America. I appreciate finding like-minded people. It is comforting to know I'm not alone. Hi, Deb. And those of you on right now who want to talk about COVID and can't get over the injustices that we all faced in not going along with the pandemic. Do you remember seeing Dr. Fauci and some woman questioning a black man, I think it was in Minnesota, and that man was like, I'm not taking your stupid vax, I'm not going there. And Fauci was like, well, you know, the flu killed something like 100,000 people, well, not this year, but last year, or, you know, like 2 years ago. Like, dude, we heard you say that. Why did the flu suddenly disappear and not kill anybody during the COVID years? Really? You think we're that dumb? Spartacus says, my mother was hospitalized for a few days for high blood pressure reasons. When I walked to the hospital, I saw 3 nurses not wearing a mask the minute I wasn't wearing mine. They told me. Yeah, I'll bet. High 70s. I didn't do it. I'm never going to do it. And I don't even get a flu shot. Go, girl, go. Same with me. Same with me. Now they're blaming all of us for the measles. They just don't understand. You know, they ruined. I believe nothing about the healthcare industry anymore. I didn't believe it before either, but now I really don't believe it. To put the mask back on, and I refused to do it since I saw them not wearing it and they left me alone. Dr. Fauci, a perfect example of a narcissist and a dangerous one at that. Exactly, Deb. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. The only difference between Fauci and Hitler is that Fauci killed more people. In Britain, the flu totally vanished. Yeah, funny, eh? Yeah. They were caught red-handed not wearing it in the hospital, so imagine them telling us to wear one was a crock. Clearly. Emergency surgery is the only thing I believe in at this point. Even then, I don't know, Deb. I just don't know. I sometimes think that if it's my time to go, I'm going. And I'm happy about it. I don't want to go, but I feel like, you know, this is a very strange world we find ourselves in right now. 70 said I had all of my childhood immunizations and my childhood diseases like measles, mumps, chickenpox, have it all. Same, me too. Me too. And I got my kids vaccinated as well. But when the jab came, I begged them not to do it. They didn't listen. But, you know, the people still think I'm crazy. So, there's that. Here's one. There was some mild pressure from my dad, but it didn't escalate. However, work was a different story. There were people who turned into bullies and used this time to make other people's lives miserable. Like you, I can't get over it. It was a surreal time and how the government was perfectly willing to force a medical procedure on people. Spartacus, I have PTSD over this COVID garbage, but I'm so happy that I'm not alone. Thank you so much for spreading the word and actually helping us through this. I did it back then, and I will never stop talking about it. No. I don't have my Bible with me, but maybe we'll do that tomorrow. No, John Lennon, he was killed. He was shot in front of the Dakota in New York City. There really is no reason to be killing yourself to live. Thank you. Hello. Exactly. JFK, I went off my doctor's recommendation, whom I trust. That's good you have a doctor you can trust. I don't. I don't. Here's another guy, says, so unethical, forcing people to try an experimental substance or lose the ability to provide and move around in the world. It was the biggest sham of our lifetimes. Yeah. My husband was not a musician, Harvest. I'm not sure what you're talking about. My husband was great, but he was not a musician. Although he liked to think of himself as a musician. Retro, I got rid of my doctor for pushing it. Yes, I think if you went to a doctor who was that afraid, you don't want to be. No, Leonard Cohen. No, that's not. There's a million Cohens in the world. Here's another one who says, some people are like, well, the wheat from the chaff, the great IQ test. Lots of twits out of my life, gained a heap of like-minded people, and that's the same too. I do feel like it did separate people. However, being separated from your family members, that's horrible. And it really did divide families in the worst way possible. They wouldn't allow me to have Holy Communion because I wasn't vaccinated, and they were actually asking me for the papers to prove that I was vaccinated. So do it. God sees all. Yeah. No, Cohen is a very Jewish name, and lots of people have it, and I was raised Jewish, and now I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. mRNA is a live culture. It seeks out other organs to attack once it gets the so-called COVID virus. It never stops attacking you. Yeah. Um, JFK thinks that is misinformation. However, if it is misinformation, then why are people who are dead in the morgue and the morticians are finding these long stringy things in their veins? Nicole says, thank you for showing up every single day. I don't know another channel that does this, not to mention your... I'm not a single woman, I'm a widow. That's different. A single woman show. Yeah, one woman show. Thank you for acknowledging that, Nicole. Jesus heals. So, okay, Harvest, you can leave. We don't need you around. That's the beauty of the beach report. Johnny's here. Johnny, you are here. Democrats are the party of open borders, men and girls sports, voter fraud, and socialism. Woo woo! Aw, look what I just got. My favorite, watermelon. Glad you're here, Johnny. Research Robert Malone, he does explain this. That's true. Yeah, one woman show. Oh, you're back, Sula. I'm glad you're back. Yeah, we know. I gotta eat a little bit. Now, the thing about watermelon, it's super good for you. However, it's so hard to find watermelon that's organically produced with actual big black seeds in it. What's up with that? I'm sorry you got bad connection, but then again, not having the 5G might be a good thing. It's hot here with no air conditioning. So, I'm not going to get over it. COVID destroyed my country and turned half of the people into raving lunatics. I'm sorry, but that's what I see. Watermelon juice and iced tea and make ice cubes with it. Oh, I'm going to do that, Betty. That's a great idea. Hey, JFK, we started judging people for their politics when they did it during a virus. The virus is completely political. And it is totally my full-on belief that the 2020 election was stolen, and it was stolen using COVID to get mail-in ballots. Change my mind. Please try. Nobody wants to fall in love with me. Don't be doing that. Andrea, my sister in Christ, praise Psalms 91 over me and everyone on this live and everyone's friends, family, co-workers, and neighbors. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Thank you. 70 says, my daughter works for attorneys in San Francisco named Cohen for 15 years. I have hats that say Cohen. I'm wearing socks that say Cohen. That's hilarious. Yeah, Deb, no seeds in the watermelon. It is messed up because they are controlling the food. And I think it tastes better when there's seeds in it. I'm just saying. Yes, there are rumors about the 5G and how it's affecting the vaccinated. I have heard that too. The midterms haven't happened yet, Venom. So keep your venom to yourself. I agree that ever since COVID virus, family in Florida and our family that lives in Pennsylvania have been politically separated because we don't believe in the vaccine and they have gotten every booster. And here's the other problem. The family who has gotten every booster, they're literally hating on those of us who don't. Like, it's so political that it's not possible that it's a real virus. If it were, then people would be looking out for one another, like in a way that is not bullying and, oh, you should die, you're unvaccinated, you're making me sick, and you're not even sick. I mean, Dr. Fauci told us one of the symptoms was no symptoms. How stupid is that? It's just wrong. If you noticed after 2020, the world isn't the same. People are not the same. They're so judgmental and narcissistic. That's right. And they're actually violent. And how many times now have they tried to kill President Trump? Like, in our faces. They're very violent, but then they claim that we're the violent ones because we won't take the vax. So we're just trying to kill everybody with a disease we don't even have. Chemtrails. Yep. Yep. You have to stand for mankind. But JFK, if you are really a Democrat, look at your party, please, and tell us why you guys are so violent and angry. What is up with that? Are you still a Democrat? Because I just see cheaters, liars, and criminals coming out of the Democratic Party. And those who are Democrats and never were cheaters or liars or criminals, you have to turn your back on that. You know, it's kind of like, let's look at it this way. We have the Somali residents in Minnesota. They were brought here by our own government in an effort, I think, to divide us as people. When you usher in people from a third world country who don't know anything but corruption and killing and just horrible minded people who just grew up with corruption, and then that's what they do. So when the Somalis were stealing from we Americans, they did it with impunity because, first of all, we'd given them everything to come here. We said, come, we'll bring you to America. We'll take care of you. We'll tuck you in bed. We'll give you beautiful homes. We'll make sure that you have education for your children and all the health care and everything you ever need. And we said that, we'll take care of you. Well, like I said before, when you offer to take care of somebody who can take care of themselves, then you're literally telling them that they're losers and they're not going to like you. They're going to like what you're giving them, but they're not going to like you. That's why the Somalis felt very, very comfortable in stealing from us. But here's the problem, too. Maybe there were a few Somalis who didn't want to steal from us and actually wanted a better life in America and wanted to be American and looked at the American people as good people that we want to be part of, not rip off. Those Somalis should have stood up against their friends and family who said it's fine to steal from Americans. That's what I'm saying. Like, you go against your people if that's what they're doing. It's the same with Democrats. Do you see what the Democrats have done? Glad you're here, Nicole. Have you seen how the Democrats have stolen elections, lied to everybody about a fake virus that they made? And God does judge, but you at some point have to admit that you're standing up for people who have, quite frankly, ripped off the American people, stolen our elections. Yeah, you want to let God just handle it? Well, that's one way of looking at it. I think it's just going to keep happening. Trudeau lied to Canadians, that's for sure. Discernment, exactly. You have to stand up for what's right. Because if you sit down and do nothing and you think, well, just let God handle it, that's called apathy. And that's how the worst things happen. When good men do nothing. God gives you the will. God gives you the power to fight back against injustice. Lead paint was used a long time ago on our walls. Lead is a barrier against radioactive signaling. Copper is another source that is very efficient for us to use, and they made that unaffordable. Yeah, and they told us the lead paint was killing the children. My husband told me how when he was a little boy, he used to find lead slugs in the ground everywhere, and the kids would collect them and put them in their mouths and walk around with lead slugs in their mouths, like doing, I don't know what they did with the lead slugs, but lead poisoning didn't kill my husband or any of his friends, so just saying. Justin Trudeau didn't even get the vaccination. Looked fake, yeah. I'm getting fired up like a preacher. Lead didn't kill you either, Josh, huh? Yeah, interesting. Interesting the things they told us would kill us and removed them from our lives. Copper's another one. I don't know if they told us copper would kill us, but They sure took it out of our water supply where it was needed. I swallowed raw. Now I'm going to die by watermelon in front of you. This is how you know the beach report is real. Somebody has to hit me in the back. My grandmother was one of 6 children, says Deb, who survived Auschwitz. Wow, you did spell it right, Deb. She told my dad, whatever they tell you, do the opposite. Mic drop right there. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, arms in the air. I'm okay now. Thank you, John. I forgot about that arms in the air thing. My flip-flops arrived in Ireland last week. That was the funniest. And if you got a lift from a lifeguard back to the boardwalk. Oh my gosh. Josh drank hose water and lived in old houses and still lives in an old house, and you're still alive. I'll bet there's lead paint in that old house too, right? You're probably safer. Wow, guys. Here's someone else writes, even today, I still feel like a winner, despite that I felt like I was kicked in the gut from all the people in my life that meant everything to me. It's so sad. Yes, we've mended all that, but I too will never forget that treatment from the sheeps that followed those arrows. Seriously, how safe is anyone told to follow arrows on a floor? Yeah, it was as ridiculous as it could be. Yeah, put your hands in the air like you just don't care. But it's a real thing, Sula. Stick your hands in the air if you're choking and you're by yourself. I think we all have PTSD. Here, I'll read you one more testimonial from a woman who says, never quit talking about it. I was an essential worker. I worked for the United States Post Office. Something to think about. I was not vaxxed and it was not pushed on us, and we didn't have to wear a mask. Granted, I was a truck driver transporting bulk mail and packages from all over the country to you. The mail packages never shut down. I just thought it was strange, maybe, but not. I just thought it was strange, maybe. But remember, when they said we had to wear those little rubber covers on our fingers transferring money, and I'm bringing you your mail and packages from all over the country, all over the world, it didn't just make sense to me. People were receiving unemployment checks to stay home, but essential workers did not get anything. Bye, Nicole. Again, we were not forced to get vaccinated, or did we have to wear a mask when we were at the loading dock or at the post office? It was all very strange to me. Another thought, my daughter's a paramedic. It was the same for her. Another thought, you would have thought that she was extremely busy transporting patients to the hospital, but she was not. And I asked her often, she would say, no, not much change here. The vax was not pushed on her with much love. Never stop talking about it. We should want answers to our many questions. Yeah. Hey, here's another one. We up and moved away from a lockdown state to one that wasn't. This was the only home that we knew. Our entire family, we left. We refused masks, refused jabs, refused floor stickers, and social distancing. We were called tinfoil hat wearers, bad humans, because we spoke the opposite research that never aligned with the parrots on TV in Hollywood. We were confronted when in public many times and ready to lay hands. So we moved away. We had children in school, we removed them. While we were defiant, stood our ground, and tried to share our point of view with anyone who'd listen, we still faced a different psychological warfare, and our teens too, of being treated like we were crazy, selfish, were avoided, and shunned. We learned who our friends really were and connected with those who were on the same page. We spent our money, and still do, at the places that didn't harass us during the planned event. the planned event. It makes me sad for those I still care about that fell for this lie and got the injections. We lost jobs, home, money, family, friends. This guy says, I used to walk backwards in the grocery store to avoid the arrows. It was like being in the Twilight Zone. I could go on and on. I saw in some Facebook posts people saying nurses and some doctors just gave the papers and did not offer the shot. Yes, some of them did. And some people actually went to jail for doing things like that. It's awful. All right, you guys. Well, welcome to my new members. Super happy that you're here. And I'll see you on a members only show very soon. And it's been 115 minutes, so it's a long show, but I'm so glad to see that we are still standing tall against these people who still hate our guts, simply because we didn't fall in line like they did. They still believe the lies, and I don't know what to do about that, but we can't stop talking about it, and we must remind them every day. Thank you, Sula. We must remind them every day of what they did to us and how they will never, ever be able to do it again. Remember hantavirus? We were like, try it and you'll find out. Yeah, constantly in the hospital for heart issues. Our darling Darla has been dealing with her son constantly in the hospital for heart issues. Yeah. Oh, a bow like that? Yes, we all know better. Okay, guys, we can talk about this anytime you want. Like I said, I'm not over it. I'm not going to get over it anytime soon. So we can have many more shows about this horrible situation we have found ourselves in. Thank you so much, Betty. Thank you guys for always for supporting the Beach Report. And oh my gosh, you guys are wonderful. Is this your way of saying it's time to sing a song? Do you want me to stay a little bit longer? People stay just a little bit longer. Oh, we want to play, yeah, just a little bit long. I know your mother won't mind, and the union won't mind. If we take a little time, leave it all behind, and what can go wrong? Oh, won't you stay? I heard that some people died alone in the hospital because they would not let their family in. That's exactly what happened to a lot of people. All right, you guys. I love you all. We'll see you on the next Beach Report, probably later this afternoon. All right, you guys. We don't just have to agree on everything, JFK. Sometimes you got to talk about the important things. I mean, JFK is kind of a perfect example of a Democrat. You just want to move on. You don't want to talk about it. And we're left seething. I'm sorry. You think it was just nothing and we should just move on with our lives and let it happen again. That's what you want. That's what will happen. Apathy never solved anything. All right, you guys. Glad you were here, Paul. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Bye, Betty. Ciao for now. Yeah, Justice. Hi, Jerry. I'm going there. You're going to have to watch the replay. Oh, the Ron Cohen you misremembered. We are talking all facts, JFK. You can like facts, and you can talk about facts. Well, we're not going to move on from the fact of what happened to us during COVID. Yeah, not all of them were mRNA. Some were just placebos. Because if they were the real thing, it would be way too obvious. That is a good point, Spartacus. It's still way too obvious. All right, you guys. Love you all. See you on the next Beach Report.